the most hazardous nuclear waste facility in the US. The Hanford Site remains an environmental burden and a haunting legacy for local residents, decades after it ceased plutonium production. The atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki in 1945 traces back to the Hanford Site, a facility on a desert expanse in Washington state that generated an enormous amount of radioactive waste in the 20th century. Spanning 1,550 square kilometers, Hanford was established in 1943 under the Manhattan Project with the sole purpose of industrial-scale plutonium production. Using 9 reactors and 5 large plutonium processing plants, vast quantities of weapon-grade plutonium were produced by irradiating uranium fuel rods, according to IFL Science. The material produced at Hanford contributed to some of the most devastating explosions humanity has created. In the facility's early days, plutonium was shipped from Hanford to the Los Alamos laboratory in New Mexico, where Manhattan Project scientists would use it to develop nuclear weapons. Part of this material was used in the Trinity test, the world's first nuclear explosion, and Fat Man, the bomb dropped on Nagasaki at the end of World War II, located in a remote area of Benton County, Washington. Hanford was selected for its abundant supply of cold water from the Columbia River, which helped cool the reactors. This location was also relatively isolated, though some residents were required to relocate to make way for the facility. In early 1943, about 1,500 local residents received letters from the U.S. government requesting they vacate their homes within 90 days. From 1944 to 1989, Hanford produced 74 tons of plutonium for the U.S. nuclear weapons program, generating an immense amount of radioactive waste and byproducts, including 212 million liters of waste stored in 177 massive underground concrete and steel tanks. Production ceased in the late 1980s as the Cold War wound down, and a cleanup program was initiated. However, this has proven to be a monumental task. Over the years, the Department of Energy is estimated to have discharged millions of liters of wastewater directly into the ground and the Columbia River. According to the New York Times, radioactive materials released from Hanford flowed downriver for over 322 kilometers to the Pacific Ocean, contaminating drinking water supplies and being absorbed by fish, exposing thousands of people to potentially dangerous radiation levels. In addition to wastewater, the underground storage tanks have posed ongoing challenges due to their tendency to leak. In 2013, the governor of Washington reported that the tanks were leaking between 568 to 1,135 liters per year. The escaping waste has seeped into the surrounding soil and aquifers, spreading pollution throughout the environment. Groundwater contamination covered an area of 207 square kilometers in the 1980s, and groundwater over 155 square kilometers still exceeds federal safety standards, restricting access to much of the Hanford Site. Radiation exposure has had lasting health impacts on residents in the area, even decades after the facility shut down. Cancer, infertility, thyroid disease, and leukemia rates have increased among those living near Hanford. Plutonium has a half-life of 24,000 years, making it an issue that will persist for generations. Cleanup efforts don't make Hanford's waste disappear. Much of it will be there permanently, stressed Dr. Shannon Cram, Associate Professor at the School of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences at the University of Washington, Bothell.